testimony from the two officers, correct? Is that a yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and they have detailed several dates that you did not submit to drug testing.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and the court's gonna want an explanation for that. Do you have an explanation?
I do.
Okay, can you tell the court why?
Sometimes I didn't have any transportation. It was hard to get back and forth. Or the people like my parents, they would help me get to report, and then I would have to report afterwards to take a drug test. But sometimes the wait would be for so long, and my dad or my mom would have to get back to work. They would just tell me I needed to take it another time. But by no means, ma'am, do I have a drug problem.
Enjoy the video, hit the like button.
Just so the people on Zoom, I just read to her the motion to enter adjudication of guilt and revoke community supervision form, and she said that she is the person who has been placed on deferred adjudication in cause number 2022 CR 2353, and states you're reading the allegations that you're proceeding on.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, you may proceed.
Violation condition number 2. On or about the 9th day of August, 2024, in Bexar County, Texas, the defendant, Concia Danae Roper, did then and there fail to submit to drug testing as directed by the court officer, supervision officer, and or duly authorized agent of the court in violation of condition number 2.
How do you plead to that? True or not true?
Failed to submit.
Yes.
Guess true.
Well, I mean, if you,
You told me that you didn't do any of these things, right?
No, ma'am.
Well, then you need to plead not true.
Yes, ma'am.
all right. So with regards to that first violation that the state read, how do you plead? True or not true? Not true? Okay. State, you may proceed.
Yes, Your Honor. Violation condition number 2. On or about the 22nd day of July, 2024, in Bexar County, Texas, the defendant, Concia Danae Roper, did then and there submit an invalid sample for drug testing, and that the sample submitted was diluted, and violation of condition number 2.
How do you plead to that? True or not true?
Not true.
Okay. You may proceed.
On or about the 10th day of July, 2024, in Bexar County, Texas, the defendant, Concia Danae Roper, did and there fail to submit to drug testing as directed by the court officer, supervision officer, and or a duly authorized agent of the court in violation of condition number 2.
How do you plead to that? True or not true?
Not true.
Next, Your Honor, violation condition number 2, on about the 30th day of April, 2024, in Bexar County, Texas, the defendant, Concia Danae Roper, did then and there fail to submit to drug testing as directed by the court officer, supervision officer, and or duly authorized agent of the court in violation of condition number 2.
How do you plead to that? True or not true?
Not true.
Yes, next, Your Honor, on about the 17th day of April, 2024, in Bexar County, Texas, the defendant, Concia Danae Roper, did then and there fail to submit to drug testing as directed by the court officer, supervision officer, and or a duly authorized agent of the court in violation of condition number 2.
How do you plead to that? True or not true?
Not true.
Next, on about the 27th day of March, 2024, in Bexar County, Texas, the defendant, Concia Danae Roper, did then and there fail to submit to drug testing as directed by the court officer, supervision officer, and or duly authorized agent of the court in violation of condition number 2.
How do you plead to that? True or not true?
True.
On or about the 13th day of March, 2024, in Bexar County, Texas, the defendant, Concia Danae Roper, did then and there fail to submit to drug testing as directed by the court officer, supervision officer, and or a duly authorized agent of the court in violation of condition number 2.
How do you plead to that?
Not true.
On or about the 8th day of March, 2024, in Bexar County, Texas, the defendant, Concia Danae Roper, did then and there fail to submit to drug testing as directed by the court officer, supervision officer, and or a duly authorized agent of the court in violation of condition number 2.
How do you plead to that?
Not true.
On or about the 23rd day of February 2024 in Bear County, Texas, the defendant, Consia Danae Roper, did then and there fail to submit to drug testing as directed by the court officer, supervision officer, and or a duly authorized agent of the court in violation of condition number 2.
How do you plead?
Your Honor, move Ashley Jones for the record. Moving on to the first amended motion to revoke probation. We only have one violation.
All right.
In Bear County, Texas, the defendant, Consia Danae Roper, did then and there fail to report to the supervision officer as directed for the months of November and December 2024 in violation of condition number 4.
How do you plead to that? All right, and state, do you waive the remaining violations?
We will waive all remaining violations, Your Honor.
No objections.
All right, state, do you have any witnesses?
Yes, Your Honor, we do at this time. State was called Jonathan Trejo.
All right, any objections to the witnesses appearing by Zoom, counsel?
No objections, Judge.
All right, could you raise your right hand for me? Do you solemnly swear affirm, I'm sorry, it's for Officer Trejo. No, it's for you, Officer Trejo. Do you solemnly swear affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
My name is Jonathan Trejo.
All right, state, you may proceed.
Your Honor. Good morning, Officer Trejo. Can you hear me okay?
I sure can. Good morning to you.
Thank you. Could you please let the judge know what your position is with probation?
Yes, I work as an intake probation officer here with Bear County Intake Unit here, the probation office.
And how long have you been in that position?
I've been working in the intake unit since around 2017.
Could you please briefly explain to the court what some of your normal duty responsibilities are in that position?
Sure. We basically receive all cases from misdemeanor felony courts, anyone granted community supervision, and they're assigned to report to the intake unit. We go over their conditions of probation, and they're assigned a probation officer. We go over their conditions with them here during that intake portion, and we make sure they understand all their conditions, and then we'll have them sign their conditions. And again, they're provided all their information as far as what specific conditions are ordered by the courts, and let them know when they're going to be reporting and with whom they're going to be reporting to on probation.
Okay. And did you do that with the defendant in this case, Ms. Consia Danae Roper?
That is correct.
Did you have contact with her on June 9, 2022?
Correct. She reported, she logged in here on Zoom, and we did an orientation over Zoom.
Okay. Can you briefly describe the orientation that you had with the defendant on that?
Yeah, so there's a portion where we review their standard conditions, which is approximately the first 13, 14 conditions of probation. So that's usually done in a group setting with anyone granted community supervision. They'll be write out those conditions, and then we'll meet with them. There are several intake officers here within the units, and so we usually do these as a group. We'll meet with them individually in a breakout room, and we'll answer any questions regarding any of those conditions of probation. We'll also review any specific conditions of probation, any programs, no contact orders, anything the judge has ordered. We'll review them with them, answer any questions, and then we'll have them sign their conditions via email as well.
The conditions that you reviewed with this defendant, did that include the previously mentioned violations of conditions number 2 and 4?
Correct. We go over every single condition of probation, and that would include those conditions as well.
Okay. Did she sign the conditions after you went over with them in her intake?
Yes, so she signed conditions.
No further questions, Your Honor. Pass the witness.
Defense, any questions?
Hi, Mr. Trejo, can you hear me?
I sure can. Good morning.
Awesome. Good morning. Mr. Trejo, I guess you were notified this afternoon or this morning about this contested MTR, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And so they gave you a name and a SID number or a name and a case number? How did that work?
A name and a case number, correct.
Okay. And then you go to your files and you search for that individual?
Correct.
Okay. Do you have any independent recollection of the person standing before you here by Zoom?
Other than just them having signed conditions, and we do have photographs here where we can kind of confirm that individual. Also ask them whenever they come into the Zoom are you this same person that was granted community supervision? And they'll confirm that they're that same person.
Okay, and so have you compared her picture that you have of her to the person standing in front of you?
Correct, ma'am.
Okay, and you believe this to be Ms. Roper?
I do.
Okay, and Mr. Trejo, let me ask you, if a probationer has any issues like transportation issues or anything like that, do you tell them to discuss that with you or to discuss that with their assigned probation officer?
So if they're having any issues, anything specifically, they are advised to discuss that with their officer because they're going to be the ones specifically that they're going to be reporting to.
Okay, and do you recall any conversation with Ms. Roper about any issues she might think that she's going to have, specifically regarding transportation?
Not that I can recall.
Okay, and this was 2022, right?
Correct.
Okay, we'll pass the witness.
All right, any further questions?
No further questions, Your Honor.
All right. State, you may call your next witness.
Your Honor, this time state calls Michael Seidel.
All right. Officer
And
Seidel, yes.
unless there's an objection, witness Trejo can be excused.
No objection.
All right, Officer Trejo, you may be excused.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you so much for zooming in.
Thank you.
All right, Officer Seidel, if you could raise your right hand for me, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
My name is Michael Seidel, Seidel.
All right, and defense, no objections to this witness appearing by Zoom?
No objections.
All right, state, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Officer Seidel.
Good morning.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Thank you. Do you recognize the woman that you see in front of you right now on Zoom?
Yes.
Okay. Who do you recognize her as?
Consia Roper.
Have you met previously with this person before?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Can you please describe to the court the first time you came into contact with her?
It would have been at her first report with me, and I believe she was reporting by Zoom from the hospital.
In your first meeting with her, what do you typically do with these type of defendants?
Typically, when I get when a case is transferred to me, I would go over the conditions with the probationer. Since she wasn't in office with me, I did not do that this time at her first meeting with me.
Now, was she directed to submit to a drug test on or about August 9, 2024?
Yes.
Did she do so?
She did not.
How did she know that she was supposed to do so?
At the virtual office visit on August 7th, we both agreed that she would submit a drug test by the 9th of that month.
Did she ever provide any proof to that?
I'm sorry?
Did she ever provide any proof to that?
But I'm not,
The question is, did she ever provide any proof to you that she reported on August 9th, 2024?
For the drug test? No.
Okay. Was she required to then, previously to that date, submit to a drug test on the 10th day of July, 2024?
Yes.
Did she submit on that day?
She did not.
Did she know she was supposed to?
Yes, because she said that she would submit a drug test after the office visit that day.
Officer, was she required to submit to a drug test on April 30th, 2024?
Yes.
Did she do so?
No, she did not.
How did she know she was supposed to do so?
The prior day we met by Zoom on April 29th, and I told her that she needed to submit a drug test the next day, by the next day.
Did she ever provide proof of any submission?
No.
Officer, was she required to submit to a drug test on April 17th, 2024?
Yes.
Did she do so?
She did not.
How did she know she was supposed to submit to a drug test that day?
She said that she would submit a drug test that day.
Did she provide any proof or submission of doing so on that day?
She did not.
Officer Seidel, was she required to submit her drug test on March 27, 2024?
Yes,
Did she do so?
she did not.
And how did she know she was supposed to submit?
She said that she would submit a drug test that day after the visit.
Did she ever provide any type of proof of any submission of a drug test on that day?
No, she did not.
Officer Seidel, was the defendant required to submit a drug test on March 13, 2024?
Yes,
Did she do so?
she did not.
And how did she know she was supposed to submit that day?
On that day, at our office visit, she said that she would submit that day. Also, at the January 18th office visit, due to her past failures to submit, I had instructed her to submit weekly drug tests through her first report in February. And then when that came, we agreed again for weekly ones because she was not successful at that through to March.
Now, on March 8th and February 23rd, 2024, was the defendant required to submit to drug testing on those 2 days?
Yes,
Did she do so on those days?
she did not.
After January 2024, did you discuss with the defendant her failures to submit?
Yes.
What was that discussion?
Several times in several visits along the way, reminding her of her drug testing compliance.
Is that presumed condition number 2 of her probation conditions?
Yes.
Officer Seidel, how was the defendant made aware of her requirement to report to you?
Her requirement to report to me. So we agree on next reports at our meetings verbally, and I give a next appointment reminder slip. And for Ms. Roper, she wanted the reminder slips mailed as well, so she could use those as proof of residence.
Did she know that she was supposed to report to you in November and December of 2024?
Yes.
How did she know that?
She was to be reporting twice monthly per her conditions. And at the at her at her November 10th, at her October 10th report, we scheduled for October 24th, November 7th, and November 21st. And the next appointment reminder slip was given to her and it was mailed.
After she failed to report to you for November and December of 2024, did you try and get a hold of her?
Yes.
How did you try and get a hold of her?
She failed to report the first one in November, and I texted her that I was changing the second report to be in person rather than Zoom, and to take care of the warrant before she came in for that report.
Did she respond?
No.
Did you mail her any letters?
For that due diligence, I did not, because the warrant was already active.
Did you send her a reminder letter in the mail for November 2024?
She would have gotten the reminder slip from October in the mail, and that would have been it as far as physical reminders.
Prior to that, had she been reporting to you since 2022?
I got her case in July of 23.
But prior to November 2024, had she been reporting to you every month?
Yes.
No further questions, Your Honor. I'll pass the witness.
Defense?
Hi, Mr. Seidel, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
And you can hear me okay, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. So, Mr. Seidel, you had her assigned to you in July of 23?
July of 23, yes.
Okay, and what had just happened to her prior to that?
Prior to, I
Prior
believe
to being assigned,
she was in the hospital.
okay, do you know why?
I believe there was she had a baby or there were complications with.
Okay, and so she had a baby, correct? And she was
Yes.
hospitalized for a C-section, is that correct?
I don't know what medical procedure.
That's not in your notes, right?
Sorry?
That's not in your notes, right?
Not in front of me.
Okay, well, you've been reading something, so what are you reading?
My notes for visits
Okay,
past when I had her.
okay, so you don't have anything from the July visit? I assume that was by Zoom?
Yes.
Okay, you don't have anything about her just having had a baby and had a C-section and was hospitalized?
Well, yes, that my first visit with her was by Zoom from the hospital.
Okay. All right, how many of these visits were by Zoom, Mr. Seidel?
Go back and count if you'd like, but generally she was supposed to be reporting twice a month. The first one in person, one in person, the second by Zoom. Generally, I would do that. The first one of the month in person and the second one by Zoom.
Okay, and where did she live?
Cibolo?
Okay, so she's not a Bear County resident, correct?
Parts of Cibolo are in Bear County.
Okay, she's not a San Antonio resident, correct?
Correct.
Do you know if she lives in a part of Cibolo that is in Bear County?
Off the top of my head, no, I'm not.
Okay.
I don't know where those dividing lines are.
Okay. And let me just ask you, Mr. Seidel, when did a warrant issue for her arrest?
The warrant was issued. One second. The warrant was issued at the end of October
Of what year?
of 24.
All right. Now, you had her as your probationer since July of 23 to present, correct?
Till January of 25, she was in my caseload.
All right. Is she no longer in your caseload because she's incarcerated?
I changed units.
Okay. All right. And when the warrant issued, did you have a conversation with Ms. Roper about that warrant?
I talked to her over phone to let her know about the warrant.
Okay. So you had a conversation with her?
Yes.
All right. And did you tell her not to bother reporting until she took care of that warrant?
I told her she would need to take care of the warrant before she reported.
Okay. Can you understand how she might interpret that as don't report until you take care of that warrant?
No.
No, you don't get that at all?
I would say take care of the warrant before she reported.
Okay. And did she ever convey to you that she was having transportation issues?
Not that I recall.
And what other things has she done on her probation? What has she done right on her probation, Mr. Seidel?
She was reporting, and I think she had a number of classes that were done prior to her being on my caseload. I think she had a parenting class. She had the BIP done. So it was basically reporting and drug testing were remaining.
And how is she on monies?
How is she on money, on her finances?
Has she been paying?
She was struggling with finances. I know that.
Did she have a job?
She was in and out of jobs.
Okay. Do you know how many children she has?
Off the top of my head at the moment, no, I don't recall.
You know what her family situation is at all?
In regards to like,
How many children she has, where she's living, what she's trying to do to make ends meet? Do you have any of that information as her probation officer?
well, she lived with her family. She had some trouble keeping jobs, because
Don't speculate, Mr. Seidel.
okay. I know she had some financial issues and she struggled to keep jobs. She lived with her family.
Okay. And you're telling this court that she never communicated to you that she had transportation issues from Civil Ed.
Not that I recall.
So she could have, you just don't remember.
Your true speculation, Your Honor.
All right, that'll be overruled. I'm here to listen. Any other questions?
I do have a few more. I'm sorry, Judge.
No problem.
So, Mr. Seidel, are you saying that there was no drug testing done whatsoever in August of 24? That you're aware of?
In August of 24, there were no drug tests.
Okay. And were there drug tests in July of 2024?
There were.
And how does something show up on your report to be diluted?
I'm sorry?
How do you know if a drug test has been diluted?
It's in the report from RMS.
Okay, you're not a chemist, correct?
Correct.
And you aren't the one conducting these urinalysis.
Correct.
Okay. And you don't know whether that's accurate or not, do you?
I cannot speak to that.
Okay, and you don't have any idea whether she was drinking a ton of water or a ton of Gatorade, or you have no idea, right?
Correct.
Did you know she was breastfeeding a child?
I do not know.
You didn't know that, did you?
No.
Okay. How about in April of 2024, were there any drug tests?
April of 24. No.
March of 2024?
March of 24, yes.
Okay. Were those diluted?
There was one test in March of 24 and it was a clear negative.
Okay. And how about in February of 24? Any drug tests?
Yes.
Okay. And were those negative?
All three of those were clear negatives.
Okay. So she has had some drug tests, correct?
Yes.
And she has passed those with negative results, correct?
Yes.
She's current or somewhat current on her finances. Would that be accurate?
As far as her supervision fees,
Correct.
she's not current on her supervision fees.
Okay, what is she current on?
For as fees,
Mr. Seidel, does she owe you money?
she has an outstanding balance on her fees with the supervision. Yes.
And what's the outstanding balance that she owes you?
$3,192.
And that total is made up of what? 3 different fees?
The supervision fees, the one-time UA fee, the court costs. She had a small PR bond fee and the administrative fees for when you make payments.
Has she been attempting to make payments every time? Is that reflected in your records?
Every time? No.
Has she
We
been
have 3 payments from her.
I'm sorry, in the entire time you've had her?
Yes, in the entire time she's been on supervision.
And how much did those total?
$66.
Okay. And before you got her on this caseload, she had already completed all her classes?
Yes.
So really it was just a matter of reporting and giving a UA and paying.
Oh, I'm sorry. She had completed the parenting class after I had her on my caseload. She completed the parenting class in December of 23.
Okay. And so tell me, why did you issue a warrant when she actually had been doing some UAs and she'd done all her classes and she was attempting to make payments?
The court responded with my supplemental report to file an MTR.
So you did it at the court's instruction, correct?
Correct.
Is there any reason that you hadn't previously filed a supplement, or had you?
I had filed a supplemental report requesting a compliance hearing to address her inconsistencies with her drug tests.
Okay, when was that?
I sent that supplemental report at the beginning of October
24, correct?
of 24, yes.
Okay. And her underlying offense is not a drug offense, correct?
It's aggravated assault with deadly weapon.
Her offense, her underlying offense is not a drug offense, is it, Mr. Seidel?
It's not a drug offense.
Would you have any objections as her former officer, Mr. Seidel, of having her probation transferred to Cibolo and letting her do her UAs and reporting there?
To transfer her case to
Guadalupe County?
Guadalupe County? I would not have had a problem with transferring her to Guadalupe.
We'll pass the witness, Judge. Thank you.
A few questions, Your Honor.
Mhm.
Officer Seidel, the defendant's responsibility to submit to drug testing, was that in Bear County?
Yes,
And her responsibility to report to you, was that to be done in Bear County?
yes,
So all the violations on this defendant occurred in Bear County, Texas, correct?
correct.
In your training and experience, officer, is it possible for a defendant to begin well on probation and then struggle later on if they have a drug problem?
Yes.
Now, last question is, when you told her that she needed to take care of her warrant and then report, did you specifically tell her, do not report to me until you take care of the warrant?
I said, take care of the warrant before you report.
No further questions, Your Honor. Pass the witness.
One more, Judge. And this experience that you have where they begin well, but then they struggle if they have drug problems, you don't know if that applies to this defendant.
No,
Because she had some negative results. She had a bunch of negative results, didn't she?
yes.
Pass the witness.
Any further questions?
Nothing from me, I'm sorry. That's what you were asking me.
I'm asking in general. Any other questions?
Yes, Your Honor, just one moment, I'm sorry.
No question, Your Honor.
All right, is this witness excused?
He is excused by the state.
No objections from defense.
All right, thank you. The court will hear argument.
Actually,
Brief.
if I can call Ms. Roper as a witness.
All right, can you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
Quincy Danae Roper,
All right, defense.
Ms. Roper, how old are you?
32,
How long have you been on probation?
since 2022.
All right, and where do you live?
Civil.
And do you live in the Bear County section of Cibolo or the Guadalupe County section of Cibolo?
Guadalupe.
All right. And who do you live with?
My mother and my father.
And who else?
My 3 children.
Okay, when was your last baby born?
July 18th, 2023. He was 7 pounds, 13 ounces.
He was 7 pounds, 13 ounces. Okay. And did you have him by C-section?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did they
That
have,
was my 3rd C-section.
okay. And did they have to give you some medication for that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you continued on probation, correct? Is that a yes?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And do you agree with Mr. Seidel that you got him in July as a new probation officer of 2023?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you have any problems with Mr. Seidel?
No, we had no issues. I had no issues with him as my probation officer. I felt like he just did his job the way he was supposed to. I still don't have a problem with Mr. Seidel because there was times that I needed to submit a drug test. It was just at the time I was having trouble with transportation, but Here lately, I've been doing so well. My parents helped me with some transportation
Okay,
so I can get my children back and forth to school and go to work.
okay. So let me just ask you, where are you working? All right, and how many hours a week do you work?
40 hours. I get Sundays and Mondays off to take care of what I need to take care of for my children.
Okay, and how long have you had that?
I've had this job a little over 6 months.
All right. And did you get a tax return this year?
Yes, ma'am.
And what were your intentions with your tax return?
So I can pay off my probation.
And you heard the testimony from the two officers, correct? Is that a yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and they have detailed several dates that you did not submit to drug testing.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and the court's gonna want an explanation for that. Do you have an explanation?
I do.
Okay, can you tell the court why?
Sometimes I didn't have any transportation. It was hard to get back and forth. Or the people like my parents, they would help me get to report, and then I would have to report afterwards to take a drug test. But sometimes the wait would be for so long, and my dad or my mom would have to get back to work. They would just tell me I needed to take it another time. But by no means, ma'am, do I have a drug problem. At the moment, if you can say I have any type of problem, it's PTSD and postpartum depression. That is really about it.
All right, and did Mr. Seidel accurately report to the court when he told you that you had a warrant and do not report to him until you take care of that warrant?
Yes, ma'am.
Right, is that why you did not report in November and
Yes,
December?
ma'am, because up to that point, I reported every month. I made sure I was on Zoom 10 minutes early before reporting, and I was always 20 minutes early to do a report. I always made time to go report and do what I needed to do. The only problems and issues sometimes that I would have would be with the finances and either paying for the drug test or the wait time would be so outstanding that my parents and I would have to go, and we live all the way in
Just one
Central.
second.
Yes.
State, what are y'all gonna be requesting with regards to this?
We're just requesting probation's recommendation, Your Honor.
Just to
Static.
prepare custody for Saturday.
All right, so here's the thing. Saturday's not gonna work because she has 2 cases that are open. And they're not gonna transfer her as long as those new cases are open. And let me just explain to everybody, the reason why she has to report to Bear County is because she's been moving around, because she's asked for different transfers. And that's why in my orders, I put that she's not to transfer to any other county without the court's permission. It's because she's been moving around. And her reporting in Bear County is what she agreed to because she wasn't doing well on probation. That's why I had the 2 times reporting so she could do the UAs, because this isn't the first time the court has problems with her either missing UAs or doing UAs that are dilute. So the only question that becomes, probation, do you want revocation? All right, so probation doesn't want revocation. And I can tell you why right now, I'm finding violation of conditions 2 from August 9th, 2024 true. The number 2 from July 22nd, 2024. I don't remember hearing any testimony about that one. I'm finding that not true. 2 from July 10th, 2024. April 30th, 2024. April 17th, 2024, March 27th, 2024, March 13th, 2024, March 8th, 2024, and February 23rd, 2024. I'm finding that true. I'm finding violation of condition number 4 true. The only one that I'm finding not true is the date from July 22nd, 2024. And here's the thing. This whole thing, I can't get somebody to take me here. I can't get somebody to take me there for UAs. That's a part of probation. And I understand the struggle is real when people are on probation, but we're on probation for a reason. And so the excuses, I can't get a ride here or I can't pay this, That's a part of being on probation. Otherwise, probation is just a piece of paper and people can do whatever they want to and pretend as though they didn't commit the offense that requires them to be on probation. So I do also know that in this court, whenever anybody's having trouble reporting, in defense, I think you know this as well, I say pick up the phone, call your probation officer, and if your probation officer is not being responsive to what you're saying, all you have to do is come in court. You didn't do any of those things. I don't recall you coming into court to address these issues. So this whole thing about probation, do that, probation and do this. Probation at the end of the day, some probation officers will hold people's hands. They're good with what I call bedside manners. They'll walk you through things. Is there anything that we can do to help or whatever? Some probation officers are like, look, your problems are your own problems. Maybe they're problems that you're making, but you need to report on this day, and that's the date you need to report. Don't want to hear anything else. And I am the one who said, no, we're not doing a compliance hearing, file a motion to revoke. And let me just tell you why I did that. Because I've had compliance hearings with you before, where we've addressed these same issues. And sometimes you have to get people's attention in a different way when you have them in the free world and they're still not abiding by the rules, even though you tell them over and over, this is the final compliance hearing. You need to do A, B, C, and D. So that wasn't getting your attention, but I think I have your attention now. And this case, you're looking at 20 years in the prison. And I found these violations true. State can recommend whatever they want to. They can even come up with an agreement with your attorney to continue you, but I don't have to. I can still revoke you. You know why? Because your contract is not with the state, it's not with your attorney, it's with the court. Do you understand?
We do.
All right. So both parties, this SATF thing, nobody's going to accept her in SATF because she has the new #1 cases pending. She'll be in limbo. She'll be at the jail until those cases are taken care of. So have your new cases been taken care of?
No,
They're
ma'am,
still
my
pending?
probation, the lawyer that I talked to before I came over
Okay, so
here, he
here's the
said
thing.
he
No,
could
no,
get
no,
them
no, no,
dismissed.
stop. You need to listen to my questions and
Yes, ma'am.
only answer my question. The question I asked you was a yes or no question.
Yes, ma'am.
Your attorney who has those other cases, he would not want you saying what you all discussed. That's confidential.
That's fine.
So my question for you is, the new #1s, are those cases still open?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you entered a plea to any of those cases? All right, that's all I needed to know. So SATF for her is off the table. So what do you all suggest? Probation?
I'll do weekly.
No. Don't, here's the thing.
Yes, ma'am. I'm
People
sorry.
will always say when their backs are to the wall, I'll do daily UAs.
Do
You can put,
anything.
no, stop. You can put me on probation for life. I've heard that. Some states, they do have lifetime probation, not here. So don't do that. It's just like when I would represent parents on the CPS side, you know what they would tell me? I will walk through fire for my children. And you know, I would tell them, don't need you to walk through fire. All I need you to do is
Take care.
disassociate yourself from this man. And you know what they say? I will do that. And then guess what ends up happening? They can't do it. Parents always want to walk through fire for their children until there's a fire. Then they're like, maybe I can go around it. So don't come to me saying you'll report daily or whatever, because you won't. So probation, what are your suggestions? Yes. Does she need an updated TAP evaluation?
We do need an updated TAP evaluation, Judge. I would ask that we do weekly reporting via Zoom for 60 days. Monthly or analysis, Judge. Reinstate field visits. Oh, like she's in Guadalupe County now, so we cannot do that. All the recommendations of the TAP evaluation.
State, are you in agreement with that?
Just to revoke and send this to 2 years TDC, right?
All right, Were you all just asking that she be continued though?
Well, we wanted treatment, yes, I feel like that was the best thing for her. However, if she can't get treatment, there's no other alternatives other than that.
All right, this is what the court is gonna do. I'm gonna ask for an updated TAP evaluation. That's gonna be done in custody. There's gonna be weekly reporting by Zoom for 90 days. And let me just tell you why it's not 60 days. Sometimes people need to be punished. That's punishment. There is going to be a patch. How much is the patch? All right, I can tell you the patch is probably approximately, is it like maybe $80 a month or something? So here's the thing, you can either do the patch or either you're gonna have to come in for testing. The choice is yours. So it's either patch until further notice, or there is going to be bi-monthly testing.
I'd rather the patch because I don't want to have to make no excuses. I can't make it in here to take a test.
All right, so Ms. Abrams, it's gonna be the patch until further notice. And you are not to remove that patch. Once that patch is placed on you, you're gonna have to report back to have that patch removed. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm gonna want 90 sober meetings in 90 days.
You don't care what county she does those in, do you?
No. And probation, is there anything else? Is there anything else you need from the court to be successful?
Thank you. Only thing I might ask to help with is my fees.
I'm not concerned about fees at the moment. The only thing I'm concerned about is the updated TAP evaluation, weekly reporting by Zoom for 90 days, patch until further notice, and 90 sober meetings in 90 days. Yes, Ms. Abrams?
Judge, is there a way that if the TAP is going to be more than a week and a half, 2 weeks, that we consider the TAP outside of custody?
Yes. All right. Is there anything else from either side?
State Your Honor.
Nothing from the defense, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Do better.
I swear I will.
Okay.
Thank you for not taking me from my children.
I'm saying,